I found the bank statement in the laundry basket, wedged between a balled-up sock and a bottle of fabric softener. My daughter's name was printed at the top, her trust account, the one we'd been building for her. Since the moment she was born, it was empty, zero balance, gone. I stared at it, dazed, the way a kid squints into sunlight, hoping clarity will come if you just look long enough. It was a Saturday. I remember because the scent of pancakes still lingered through the house. I just drizzled maple syrup into a smiley face on Grace's plate. Then she went quiet. "Don't worry, Dad," she said, calm like a still pond. I handled it. She didn't blink, just kept chewing like nothing had changed, like the ground hadn't just cracked beneath us. That night, my wife didn't come home. 2 days passed. Then the phone rang, her voice on the other end, wild, frantic, like someone living within. She screamed through the line, raw and ragged. "What did you do? Where is it? Where is it?" I didn't respond, just looked at Grace, sitting cross-legged on the floor, her homework untouched, her eyes far too old for 15. She smiled, not like everything was okay, but like something new had just begun. Betrayal doesn't show up wearing horns. It looks like the woman you dance with barefoot on a rainy Tuesday in your kitchen. It smells like the shampoo still clinging to your pillow. It doesn't shout. It whispers, and then it vanishes. Her name was Mia, my wife for 17 years. We built our life together, carefully, like stacking stones for a lighthouse, readying for storms. I never dreamed she'd be the one to bring one. She drained Grace's trust account, every cent, $212,000. Then she disappeared with a man I'd never heard of. Apparently, he'd been in her bed longer than I'd ever want to know. They fled to Mexico. I found a blurry selfie on her sister's Instagram, his hand resting on her thigh, her cocktail raised high. The caption read, "Finally free." People ask if I saw it coming, as though heartbreak gives advance notice. No, that morning, she was folding laundry. I kissed her on the cheek. She reminded me about Grace's parent-teacher meeting, and then she walked out the door and never came back. I tried filing a police report, but it wasn't technically theft. Her name was on the account too, joint custodial. We set it up that way when Grace was born, in case of emergencies. Mia had said, curled into me like a vow. Apparently, adultery qualifies. That money was supposed to be Grace's future, her college, her first car, her escape route. Mia turned it into her own. Yes, the betrayal burned, but it was a quiet disbelief that gutted me. How do you explain to your daughter that the woman who once sang her to sleep could torch her future for a man who probably couldn't spell the word? I broke, not in front of Grace, never in front of her, but when she slept, I curled into the laundry room and cried into her old baby blankets. Then came the calls. Her family, my mother, friends who'd picked up bits of the story. Everyone hungry for a scandal they could digest. But I had no punchline, no grand speech. Just silence, just shame. We left the house a week later. Grace said she couldn't breathe within those walls. "It still smells like her," she whispered. I found us a small rental 2 hours north, a cabin near Lake Harmony. Quiet nights, trees that didn't ask questions. I landed a job unloading produce at a grocery warehouse. The mornings were cold. The work was hard. No one cared who I'd been before. That was the beauty of it. I started fixing things around the cabin. Pipes, doors, loose shelves. There's something sacred about wood and nails, how grief seeps out through your fingertips when you build. Grace homeschooled for a while. She spent her afternoons sketching beneath the pine trees. Sometimes I find her drawings, wolves' shattered crowns, girls gripping swords. I didn't ask. She didn't explain. But she smiled more. And eventually, I started sleeping again. One evening midwinter, we were wrapped in blankets on the porch. I finally asked her what she meant that day when she told me she handled it. She didn't look up, just sipped her cocoa and replied, "I found Mom's password journal. She kept it taped under the bathroom sink." A pause. She moved the money to an offshore account. I moved it back. My breath caught. She had no idea I knew, but she left her laptop open one night last summer, she added. I saw everything. I just stared, stunned. She wasn't smug. She wasn't bitter. Just sure. A 15-year-old girl with the heart of a warrior. She hadn't just saved her future. She'd saved mine from total collapse. She called me, she said softly, begged, screamed, told me I ruined her life. I asked what she said in return. Grace smiled. I told her she made her decision. I made mine. I'd always tried to be her shield. But in the end, she became mine. The town never questioned why we were there, why a man with soft hands in the city was working freezer shifts, or why a girl with tired eyes never showed up at school. They just let us be. And in that silence, we rebuilt. That summer we planted tomatoes, built birdhouses. We laughed again. Not like before, not light or careless, but real laughter. The kind that comes after the flames have passed and you're still breathing. I still think of Mia sometimes. Not out of love. That's long dead. But out of awe at how someone you trusted with your soul can vanish with a match in one hand and a gasket in the other. But this isn't her story. It's Grace's. And mine. A story of what's left after the devastation. Of a girl who didn't let betrayal write her future. Of a father who crumbled but stayed standing because a girl half his size still believed he could. There's no tidy ending. No justice tied in a bow. Just this. Sometimes survival doesn't look like winning. Sometimes it looks like a teenager staring down a storm and saying, "Not today." And sometimes that's enough.